Hey folks, it's Indieguy. So, yeah, I haven't been given any game to review, so I guess we could look at one of my
Hold on there, cunt. You have a ton of shit-ass videos. You gotta remake some of them.
Hey, yo, look folks, it's on the Shivra, the elder god that has been keeping me locked up in here for more than a year now, and that apparently has a boss, which officially makes him more of a loser than me.
Okay, bring on the ball taser.
Remember when Need for Speed was a respectable franchise? Remember when Need for Speed didn't rely on nostalgia to make you buy their products? I sure do. And one of the games that came out from this golden age of Need for Speed is the PSP version of 2006's Carbon owned the city. I'm not gonna touch the original Carbon, that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to stick my balls into. But Carbon did get a pretty good PSP port, unlike Most Wanted that easily had the worst racing game for the console. But what makes Own the City so good? Well, for starters, the story is pretty decent. You and your brother are these hardcore gangbangers, and in one of your races, you both crash. He dies, but you only get left with brain damage and amnesia. And now it's your job to find out who is behind your brother's death. And to do this, you have to revive your old crew and dominate the city once more. I'm not a medical professional and all, but I really don't think it's the best idea to go straight back into racing after something like that. But, Sorry really isn't too bad, and the cutscenes are very visually appealing. Comic book style really gives this game an interesting personality. The aesthetic of the game itself is pretty nice as well. The late afternoon sky, the smog in the skybox, and the general depressing look of the city feels right. In terms of map though, they could have been a little bit more creative. Merely for the fact that this is Rockport, the city from Most Wanted, and it isn't even Palmon, the city from Carbon, or something new. But I think that would have been asking a little bit too much from an unfortunate Z-Class team working under EA, that didn't have much communication with the A-Class one. But to be completely honest, I do like the reskin of some of these areas. Like the city and the airport area, they look really nice. But this is a racing game. How well does the racing actually fare? Well, it's not that bad. The driving model is stripped right from underground rivals. Something that is pretty good, I'm not complaining. It actually handles like an old NFS game. You know, the grip over drift thing? Something that you don't see today that much in modern arcade racers, which tend to lean in the Ridge Racer brake to drift mechanic. There's only one thing missing in the feel of the game though, and that's the lack of speed breaker, aka slow-mo, which would have been pretty cool in some of these corners. I get that Most Wanted 510 had a pretty fucking awful speed breaker system, but that could have been changed up a little bit to make it good. I don't know. There's also a wingman system, just like in the main title, only here they are a little bit different. In the main Carbon, you had scouts that surveyed the area for shortcuts, drafters that gave you a speed boost, and blockers that slowed opponents down. In here, however, there's still drafters, but the blockers are now called brawlers.
For the kill.
And the scouts are gone and have been replaced by the assassins that drop spike strips that, if you're not careful, can fuck you up too. In addition, there are also two subclasses just like in main Carbon. One gives you a little extra money and the other gives you a little extra speed. Nothing much is done with the wingmen though. As you use them, they can level up, but nothing really happens. They don't get new cars, they don't get any faster, they just remain the same. Kinda makes you think why there is a leveling system in the first place. Another thing that is less good about the wingmen is that if they finish a racing first, it won't count as a win. But fortunately, this doesn't happen that much. The events are pretty straightforward. You have the standard circuit, sprint, and lap knockout races, but you also have new stuff like knockdown, which is straight up murdering people. Can you hear the silence? Escape races, which are just escaping from the opposing crew, and delivery, which is an open world race and you're guided by your GPS that can fuck right off.
What about the car selection, you fucking cheese grader?
Wow, an actual pertinent question. Progress, well, I'm proud. Well, the selection is pretty much a watered down version of the one from Carbon mixed with a little Most Wanted. But some of these stats are fucking ridiculous. Like an Elise handling pretty much the same as a Mustang, or the dumbest of them all, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo being one of the starter cars on par with the Nissan 240SX and the Mazda Speed 3. Why? The music selection, although the farthest thing from my type, fits the aesthetic of both On the City and the regular Carbon pretty well. It has less nu metal and hard rock and more of what I guess you can call electro. I don't fucking know, but it fits. It also has this Windows XP-like visualizer that
Just shot at a black man and took his shoes. Customized my AR like a Black Ops 2.
Okay, let's finish with a couple of sour notes. There are cops, yes, and they added nothing to the game overall, just like in Carbon. But there is somehow less incentive to fuck around with them here than in the regular Carbon. If you evade them, you only get money, but it's such a minuscule amount that it's not worth it at all. As a matter of fact, there is little incentive to roam around in the map. Yes, this game has an open world, which is very impressive, but the only thing that you can do besides accessing races, something that you can do from the menu mind you, and these crates that give you either concept art that, okay, looks pretty cool, or a small amount of money when you run into them, there's really fucking nothing. Let's wrap this up before I spend another 3 months doing nothing but scratching my fucking nutsack. At the end of the day, this is a pretty good port of Need for Speed Carbon. Well, I guess you can't really call this a port since it's its own game, and for that I think that the game deserves a 7 out of 10. It has some weird and missing things, but it is by far the best Need for Speed game for the PSP. I think I was a little bit too harsh on the game when I first reviewed it fucking 2 years ago or some shit like that, and I definitely wasn't as thorough as I was now. If you saw that video, disregard it and carry on with your merry life. But well, that's it. See ya.
Are you ready to see the boss now?
What the hell are you talking about? Yes, of course, I was ready from the get-go. Let's go, let's move it. Oh, for the love of God.
I promise you I'll always be right here. I'm right next to you.